Today I'll show you how we do repotting of this tree. And before I start, I tell you something about this tree. This was growing as a small sapling in the mountains in Italy. And so it was collected by a friend, and then who later shipped it to me in the UK. And it's been with me over 10 years, and you can see the age and maturity in the bark. When a tree grows in such a small container, it tends to age much quicker than the natural counterparts. So natural counterpart of this sapling would be still a small tree struggling to get bigger and so on, but this is already showing this very interesting mature bark, which adds to the attraction of this.
What's the steps you go?
Next step, yes. Before we take tree out of the pot, then expose the roots, which happen to be the most sensitive bits.
Yes.
So we try to minimize this exposure in the air,
right.
Dry air. So I prepare everything else first, and then when they're ready, I'll tree out of the pot. So first I show you how to prepare the pot typically. This pot has got 2 holes.
Right.
Yeah. People call it drainage holes, but they're actually for air to come in from.
Right.
Yes. So, but you don't want all the insects and little wood lice to come in.
Right.
So we have to close it very securely. So I use this sort of mesh. Cut to the size, not too big, because then it would pull with the fixing. And I use 2mm wire because this is secure enough to fix the mesh very solidly to the pot. And I use the simplest way. I make very accurate 90 degrees right angle turn, and then measure the diameter of this hole, and then take it there, and then just do this.
Right.
Yeah. And this has to be just tightly fitting.
Right.
If it's too narrow, it wouldn't fix the mesh very well. If it's too wide, it wouldn't go in.
Yeah. Is this part of everything in bonsai? No waste and precision and all that?
It is important to observe details, because details are meant to make your work easy and accurate.
Right.
So if you ignore the details, then your work becomes messy, and if it's messy, it doesn't do the job it's supposed to. So, details are small things, but after all, it adds up,
yes.
And then make a difference in overall results. So just pull it out to the finish. Yeah, like this. And then turn this. Do the other one. Now we're going to install the second wire, much the same way as the one we did with the first one. Take it in through the, do you have to, here, yeah? One side long, like the other one, and other side short. And then just run it like this with your finger, so there will be no room left. And then just hook it onto the wall, and then pot is ready. Yes. And so I have prepared the soil mix today for this tree, like this. As you can see, they're sieved to all the same size.
Yeah.
There's no big one and small ones. It's all the same size, and dusted as much as possible. I mean, sieved to remove the dust.
How much is the percentage of the particles that hold air into the pot
Yeah,
for this?
there are 2 elements in it. One is called akadama. This is a compacted loam, which, because it's been compacted, it wouldn't lose this granular shape.
Right.
That allows air to circulate freely. But because it's a loam, it would absorb a large quantity of water. And that would be the source of water for the roots to absorb from. Yeah. Then things are ready for a tree to come out of the pot. And so the tree has been fixed before, like we have done. So these fixtures have to be removed. So it's all released, yes. And then, unfortunately, this pot has got a little inner lip.
Ah, yes.
Which would prevent tree from just sliding out. So in this case, we have to cut the rim, edge open.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it wouldn't come out. I think roots have really filled the pot in the meantime. I can feel that.
How long ago has been this repotted, do you think?
At least 5-6 years. Yeah. It's only that we have to take it out in one piece. One piece,
yes,
that's
yes,
the problem. Okay. So, these black roots which are pressed against the wall. Are long dead roots. So we're going to recycle this moss in the new pot, so I take this away. So what I'm doing now first is to organize the surface. And as it doesn't show that the tree has been growing in this position. It looks as if it's been planted there. Because there are no sort of side roots which to show that tree has been really growing here for many years. So I'm going to expose some of those. So here you can see.
Yes, I can see, yes. Are these points where you can see other branches that you cut out?
Yes, all died. Yes. So here, there's first root. Unfortunately, it's a bit too big. Right.
So would you cover it a bit more, or would you leave it?
I would leave it, but it shouldn't really get bigger than this. So you can just stop by cutting in. Yeah, but I just see what other roots are available.
If it's too big, the root, does it make the tree look
Small,
smaller?
exactly. That's the problem. So if I could find the roots which are proportionate to the trunk size, then I would remove it completely and use only those. Yeah. But at the moment we are not coming up. Here's the right.
Oh, there we go. Yeah.
Here's the right size. Yeah. And then all these roots which are turning around the trunk, just remove it. Yeah. The woody roots like this one, we have to stop the continued growth. We just use this woody bits to show that the tree is well anchored to this ground. But beyond this, and this root, for example, it's coming out of nowhere. So this would have to be removed. It's quite a big root, so probably most of these long roots may come just from here. So you can remove it once for all. It's gone. And the interesting fact is that by cutting, you're increasing.
Yes.
Yeah, by cutting a single big root, you'll be getting back in return a dozen or more smaller roots.
Okay.
So this is not an act of reduction, it's act by cutting, you're in fact increasing the roots.
Oh, I see. That's amazing. Yeah.
Now these are woody roots, yeah, no use for bonsai absorption. So they have to be cut. So all the non-landscape roots which are teased out, small, big, are cut back. So this is how tree stands at the moment, but the trunk is leaning a little bit too much. And basically this is a vertical tree, and if you correct this verticality of the trunk, the tree would definitely look taller and bigger. Yeah. So I'm going to plant it in this new corrected position. And then from somewhere here, somewhere here, and then this would be shown in the background, and this would be there. So that's the orientation that we need to now stick to. So it needs some correction in sloping. And then we have to measure the new pot, so I know exactly how much from where to reduce. So this pot has the width of 16.5, and depth here is 14. Seen from the side, it has to stand in the middle.
Right.
Yes. So the trunk would be the middle. So we had
14 minus 2, 12.
12, yeah. So 6 each. So it's still here. And then 6 other end. So this more than this less here. All these old roots come off with this reduction.
Wow.
Which are no use for absorption. That's to grow. A tree would have to spend a lot of resources on it. And the problem with this thick woody root is that tree cannot stop its growth, and we don't see what's going on under the soil.
Yes.
So without us noticing, one day it can be so big and using a lot of resources that should have been relocated to the green growth. And that often happens in bonsai, who hasn't received this woody root reduction.
Right.
So these long roots all came from this woody base. So they're going around in rounds,
Rapunzel.
but yes, not having many absorbing root attached.
Yes.
Yeah. And then also they're dead at the moment. So this side, when you reduce the size, we have to observe the flow of the tree. As tree stands now, it is possible that you see a stronger movement created by this branch going that way. Yes, and we call that flow. Flow of dynamism. Yes. So this tree flows this way, and that would invite people's attention to go along with this movement. And when you provide this, say, screen, the background, yes, which is neutral, people naturally project their imagination of the landscape surrounding this tree onto this space. If you plant this in the center, it stays rigid. There's no sort of movement either way. Therefore, the viewer would end up just looking at the tree. So in case of bonsai presentation, it's crucial that people do not dwell on the tree because then it is a small tree in a pot. And then we do the pruning of the roots at the same time, like we did on the surface. Yeah? So all the exposed roots would be now And then we have to do the underside.
Oh wow.
So it's like a mat of old. And a bit more around here. Well, there are people who do repotting in 10 minutes, but it's worth taking your time if you are to produce a positive result, not just for the tree but for yourself in the future. Trees are to be put on display. These things become so important. To give us full on earth. Two more is okay. Try. So first you place the initial layer at the bottom, and this should be very, very thin. This would give all the flexibility in positioning the tree in the position you want.
The right one.
Yeah. And then just place it gently on it. From this moment on, it will be positioning process. So by lowering it, you adjust the height, and then shifting, you give the right position, and you also have to control from the side that this is centered. So all this maneuvering has to be done without lifting the tree. So just wiggle. So from side, and then the trunk has to be
in the
middle and vertical. Yeah, so that's the requirement from the side control. And then from the front, you just check the height. So the landscape bit should stay above the rim of the pot. And this you adjust with this movement, yes. And then the tree is still in too central a position, so that has to be shifted to the opposite side of the floor. And once you're satisfied with the position, just make 3 controls. The height,
Yes.
and then the position seen from the front. It's at the moment still too central, but for the reason I've given, this is the limit I can push. And then
the lateral.
From the side, just to the camera, it is vertical and centered. So if you're happy with this, and now with this fixed, we fill the soil into the gaps. On the sides. Now the wire should be placed onto the wall. So here you can see how effective this is. The soil sinks very rapidly. You don't hit hard, then the soil jumps. If you hit gently, it sinks. And then you can still tweak the position by adjusting the way you hold the tree against the pot. And then just let the soil fill the gaps. There are people who would fix a tree with wires, but I would say it's better to fix a tree with soil first, and then by tapping soil and let it sink everywhere, there comes a moment when tree is literally fixed into the position by soil and doesn't move at all, and then it's ready, yes, and then you can tie with the wire. So you pull wire to maximum. Do the same on this side. Oops. And then use in the corner You just tie this in. And then pull 2 wires together so it creates space, yeah, which will be closed by easy twist. And then when you close the gap, we just try to pull one more, and then space close, and then you can't go any farther. No. And then it's just perfectly fixed. And then you have to cut the ends very tight so that you don't leave much of knot as such, because it is for next repotting. So next time when you just pull, and then it would release itself easily. Yeah. And then
it becomes somewhat easier in a way if you do it properly.
Yes. Observing all the details would make it easy. Yeah. So now it's ready. So either you can water now and then do the sphagnum, but to save time today, I just place sphagnum. The sphagnum moss is finely chopped or grated like this and made wet. Yeah. So the surface is a very good area for roots to grow into, but it is the area which dries first.
Right.
So if the surface could overcome this, difficult aspects, then roots would be very happy growing there, and then they would be the best. It would be the best area for roots to grow in, because water comes from here, fertilizers come from here, air circulation is best here. Water would never sit here; it all goes to the bottom, and then the temperature is higher.
Right.
So the surface provides all the positive conditions for root growth, except that it is more prone to drying.
Yeah, it's not protected.
So that's why we protect the moisture with this sphagnum, and then it can overcome this difficulty, and then roots are happily growing in this area. And then for the tree, that's a big gain.
How thick do you put? How thick is this layer?
Generous. And then I would just, in this phase, I would just come to the brim, all the way. Because sphagnum is fully stretched at the moment because it's wet. When it dries, it shrinks. Sphagnum is known to contain over 10 times of its body space with water. So it's really bloated at the moment. But that's how, it can protect the moisture. Yeah. While this is wet, no moisture will be lost from the surface. Soil, and that's the advantage of sphagnum. And then you just press the periphery in, so that this could be sort of tucked into the roots. So this is the moss we recovered from the pots before we started the repotting. And then running it through this sieve, you get this powder which contains a lot of spore. So now the surface has been worked out. The best way to water is to just immerse it in water and not let water come over.
Okay, so it's not going to move more.
No.
You happy?
Yes, better than before. Yeah. You shouldn't really perfect it each time because this everlasting process of getting it better and better. There would come never a moment when you say it's perfect.
No.
Because it's a living tree. So it can get better all the time.